शुक्लांबरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुर्गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ओम श्रीगुरवे श्री सत्यसाईनाथ श्रीपादुकां पूजयामि नमः। ओम श्री परमगुरवे श्री शिरडी साईनाथ श्रीपादुकां पूजयामि नमः। ओम श्री परमेष्टि गुरवे दत्तात्रेय स्वामी श्रीपादुकां पूजयामि नमः। सद्गुरु चरणारविन्दाभ्यां नमः। हरिः ओम। श्री साईश्वराय नमः। हरिः ओम। अस्य श्री अथ रात्रि सूक्तम्। ओम अस्य श्री रात्रीति सूक्तस्य कुशिक ऋषिः रात्रिर्देवता गायत्री छन्दः श्री जगदम्बा प्रीत्यर्थे सप्तशती पाठादौ जपे विनियोगः। ओम रात्रि व्यख्यदायति पुरुत्रा देव्या अक्षभिः विश्व अधिश्रियो गोधिता ओर्वप्र अमर्त्या निवतो देव्यू उद्वताः ज्योतिषा बाधते तमाः निरुस्वसागारमस्कृतो शसन् देव्यायति अपेदुहासते तमाः सानो अद्ययस्या वयन्नितेयामन्न विक्ष्महि वृक्षेण वासत्यं वयाः निग्रामासो अविक्षत निपद्वन्तो निपक्षिणाः निस्येनासश्चिदर्थिनाः यावया वृक्या अमृकं यवयस्तेन मूर्म्ये अथा न सुतरा भवा उपामापेपीषत्तमः कृष्णौ व्यक्तमस्थित उषा ऋणे वायातय उपातेगा इवाकारं वृणीष्व दुहितर्दिवः रात्रिस्तोमन्न जिग्युषे। ओम शांति शांति शांति। Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hari Om, Shalom, Sai Ram, Namaste. Offering our loving pranams at the divine lotus feet of Bhagavan Sri 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 Satya Sai Baba. We are studying Ratri Suktam, and we are now at the last ruk that is commonly chanted in as Ratri Suktam, but this Suktam is actually much longer than what we do as the abridged short version. Probably they figured out that it will take too long to chant the other one, and you have to also chant 700 verses after this, so they kind of shortcut as the prakriya. Prakriya means the technique associated with the Devi Saptashati Patha. So this Ratri Suktam, we looked at different aspects of what this Ratri really means. First and foremost, it is not just what we colloquially understand the word Ratri. It is not just night. First, we have to connect to that. Ratri does not simply mean night. What we are connecting to is not the opposite of lux. Lux means light, and nox means dark. That is the opposite of lux is nox in original, whether it is, I think is it Latin or Greek? I believe it is Latin. So, is that correct, Robert? Is that Latin? Lux and nux? Yes. So, that lux and nox is associated with the transition, is associated with the presence of light and absence of light. Ratri does not actually have a word for true translation into English. Therefore, we have to focus on what this actually Ratri means, even colloquially if it means night. And in the context of that, what is being described in this Sūktam is how does this time period, what we perceive as absence of light, if you look at absence of light as absence of awakening, then this absence of light means someone who is in slumber. And that is literally what happens during night time. We go into slumber. And we have no awareness about what is happening in the context of body consciousness, in the context of sensual consciousness, and in the context of the mind, the intellect, and the doer, the inner faculties. So what happened during this period of what we are referring as Ratri is all those three aspects are withdrawn, into this, that becomes the resting place for all these three. And therefore what happens? The entire system goes into redaction. I think that's a real word in English, redaction. So that in the context of that redaction, we lose awareness. But truly speaking, because we have identified so much with this thing called the body, the senses, and the mind, we think that we don't exist beyond those three things. And this beautiful Ratri is telling you that you are beyond those three things. You exist through those things, are actually that which exists through these three things is Ratri. That is the very first aspect of it. Purutra, Devya, Akshabhihi. Akshabhihi. Aksha means ice. Bihi means plural number. Several eyes that are luminous. Devi means luminous. Several luminous lights that are all pervading and looking over the entire universe. And this is what literally you can see. This is the beauty about Sanatana Dharma. It does not refute what you can perceive. It's very important. A lot of people tell you that Maya means that which is delusion. Delusion means, no, it is not a delusion. Delusional means hallucinating, that you ignore what is relative. But never ever, Vedam, never ever ignore the relative. In fact, what it does is that it will actually take you from what you perceive, and from what you perceive to what you cannot perceive. That is the beauty. Yes, this is very important. If somebody asks you what Vedanta or what is the ultimate wisdom is, the ultimate or the end of wisdom never refutes or never ignores or never say this doesn't exist. Yes, this table exists, this body exists, this mind exists, the senses exist, everything in this room exists. Everything is existing, and that which is existing is called existence. That which you can identify is what is called vastu, and that actually exists. No question about that. How it exists in time and space, all those things are different aspects. So now we are coming back to this Ratri, focusing on this Ratri. So the very first mantra is this beautiful thing called Ratri, has these innumerable luminous lights, and it is all pervading, and it is overlooking the entire cosmos. Now you see, brothers and sisters, what I'm doing is, I am not actually chanting the mantra, but I'm going into the contemplation of each line of the mantra. This is what is called, this is how you actually sustain. And when you chant the mantra, automatically all of this flows through you. Ratri is that beautiful thing with innumerable luminous lights that is all pervading and overseeing this universe or cosmos. Is that anything that you cannot connect to? Now you have to ask the question, do I understand what is being said? Is that factual, or is that true? Huh? That's the question you have to ask. In this statement that is made, is there anything that I do not understand? Ratri is that which is overseeing this entire cosmos, all pervading, with several luminous lights. Eyes, lights as the eyes, luminous eyes. Devya akshabihi. Purutra, all pervading. Vyakhyadayati, present. Ratri, this thing called Ratri. Vishwa, adhishriyodhita, that which is overseeing this entire cosmos. Is this true? What you observe in the night, is this true? Hello? Does anybody not connect to this, please? 100% true. Then it is this, what we call it now, we are taking this omnipresence aspect of it, and that omnipresence is now described as Uru, Apra. It is pervading up, down, all over. It is pervading all over, and it dispels darkness with its luminance. As she comes, along with her is already set in place this thing called dawn, and when she comes, darkness vanishes, and then they together laugh or dispel this darkness. So I'm giving the English meaning, what actually is the real thing. Everything you have to pay attention and say, is what is being said, do I understand it? Is it factual or not? Is it factual or not? And everything that is being said in three mantras, the three ruks that we went through, everything is factual. And then it says, this Rātri Devi has approached us, and when that approached, all of us returned to our residences securely, just like the birds are returning to their nests. True or not? True or not?
Yes.
Relatively true or not? And the answer is yes, every mantra we are saying. When these birds are returning, along with the birds, all the people living in the village also return. Also are returning all the cattle, Also are returning the falcons or the eagles and all the travelers who are visiting this town. Everybody is returning. And then it is referred to, oh, this wave of compassion. Oh, this mantra is actually so-called prayer more than the fact, right? Here what we're saying, you are now wishful thinking. Oh, as this night comes and as I go into this thing, I am subject to these nightmares associated with these wolves that are creating these nightmares for me, and all these thieves that are going to steal something away from me. So along with this darkness comes all these undesirable elements. Where are these undesirable elements coming? I went out to work. When I came back, I brought a lot of baggage with me. And this baggage doesn't allow me to sleep. Therefore, please make me cross all these things with your wave. I shall now move across. Dustara bhavasagara taranam. Sutara bhava. Sutara means the one which takes across. Tara means to take taranam. Sutaram means take across very well. And yesterday in the 7th mantra, we looked at this thing called, along with this, when this Rātri is present, along with this Rātri also is associated very closely with this black, thick, black, all-pervading darkness, which hides everything and blocks complete perception. Let that not approach us. Ma upa. What not approach us? That thick, black darkness that is hiding everything and blocks my complete perception. Let that not approach me. And by doing so, we awaken, we are relieved from all the indebtedness. Usha runeva yataya. Yataya means Usha, you relieve us from all this indebtedness. So far, so good. That's really a very simple, factual summary of each of the shlokas, of each of the ruks. They're not shlokas, they're ruks. So these beautiful 7, and then there is this 8th one, which is complete, what we call in cricket terminology, googly. Now comes the googly. You have no clue where the ball will land and how it will turn, and you have to complete guesswork now. And what it is saying? Upama, upa tega ākaram vRNīshva duhitar divah. Okay, let me share my screen here so you all can see what I'm talking about. So, and then let us pay attention to the vakyardha. What is the words telling you? Upatega ākaram vRNīshva duhitar divah Rātri stoman jigyuṣe. These I have brought to you like cows. You child of heaven, accept. O night, this loud as for a conqueror. Now, those that are completely literate, like Sahiti, does this meaning connect you to anything whatsoever? Okay, I'll tell you word by word how we are looking at this word by word. Upa means upate, we are bringing close to you. Ga, ga means cows. Ga means cow. Iva, here, ākaram. Ākaram means prayer. vRNīshva, accept it. Duhitaha means daughter. Divah means higher worlds. So actually, what you're saying, it is oh daughter. Duhita is actually daughter, feminine, because we're referring to Ratri as feminine gender. So, oh, the daughter of heavens, Duhitar Divaha, accept vRNīshva. Iva ākaram, this prayer. That upa te, that we got close to you, and a cow. Ga. And a cow. Okay. Oh, daughter of heaven makes sense. We brought to you a prayer. Please accept. That's also. What is this cow? All of a sudden. And then Ratri. You see transliteration. Oh, night. Stomam jigyuṣe. Stomam means again stuti, or the word stuti comes from the word stoma. Na means ours. Jigyuṣe. With this prayer, make us victorious. Jigyuṣe. Okay. Who made sense out of this? Let's do it like yesterday format. Study circle. Yes, Chinna. No, you have to. One thing I'll tell you: when you are sharing in study circle format, I think you run this in your centers. I'm sure in Sai centers, if you attend one, many people don't go to study circles because they're all circles in study, in zeros. they don't want to study anything. Why study? Boring. What is talking? I have no clue. And what this Swami says, I have no clue. What this uncle takes mic and talks something about some Bhagavad Gita and his own experience. I have absolutely no clue. It is nothing to do with what is said, what Swami said. People will go off on their own and share whatever they know, not what is relevant to what is being said. So study circle principle is, you take a paragraph, your sharing should be 100% aligned. Your experience aligned with what is being said, not what you know. You understand? Hello? This is study circle principle. So when we're saying, so let's look at this particular mantra. We are bringing to you, O daughter of heavens, we are bringing to you a cow and a prayer. Please accept. And by accepting these, make us victorious. That is what is being said. Now, how do you understand this? That is what is the question that is being asked. Now, Chinna, go ahead.
Yeah, Sairam. So the whole context of this Ratri Mantam, if you see, it is referred as wolves, and it is referred as the cows, and you referred as the tigers, and also everybody coming home. So here, if you look at in the villages, what happens? The farmer takes the cows to the forest. That's where he protects throughout the day. And then when he brings back the cows, during the night time, also it needs to be protected. So he's bringing back the cows night to protect the cows, because at night he's also sleeping. And during that time, the cow needs to be protected. So he is praying the luminous, the all-pervasive one, saying that protect my cow. So that's what I think makes sense, because most of this is written in context of the villagers, how they protect their cows internally, how they protect themselves while they're sleeping.
Okay, so by definition, thank you for sharing, brother. So this mantra applies to all villagers. All of you living in New York, go to hell. I'm just joking. We just have to have some fun associated with it. So, but thanks for sharing that perspective. Yes, Giri, go ahead, Sarama.
Sairam. So cow is something that is bound. So we're kind of offering this thing that is bound, which is ourselves, and we're requesting to be victorious, meaning to be unbound. Sairam.
Profound. Okay, profound. Yes, Venkatesh and Kidambi. So,
So
with what brother
cow
said, I'll
is
just summarize is that is a reference to the cow is something that is bound or tied. So this prayer is about praying to this Ratri to untie ourselves from all the bondage is what brother is connecting to. Thank you. Yes, Venkatesh and Kidambi.
Sairam. I think cow is brought here mainly because it is the one that gives unconditionally without expecting anything, and she is the giver, never takes. That's why cow is brought here. So mother is referred here as cow because she is the giver and protector. That's how I see it, Sairam.
So the giver and the protector, we are giving it back. Is that what you're saying?
No, she gives without expecting anything.
Yeah. So now you have to ask the question, why are you taking this cow to this Ratri and telling here, Ratri, I am bringing you this cow and a prayer. Accept these and make victorious. That's the actual meaning of what we are chanting. Upa te ga. Iva iva ākaram. Iva ākaram becomes iva ākaram. vRNīshva, please accept. Duhitar divah, O daughter of heavens. So clearly this is referred to two. The reference is to two. So who is talking? You are talking. I am talking. Everyone in this call is asking this daughter of heavens. Okay.
Yeah.
So we are going to this daughter of heavens and this Ratri, and we're saying, here, I bought a cow and I bought a prayer. Accept both and make me victorious. That's the meaning of it. So how do we connect it? That's the context of. Yes, Harish.
So basically, I think what we are saying is our three faculties are sleeping; they are in slumber, and then the real awareness was there, but I was not aware. So take me to that place where even the three are sleeping. The real one is let me be made aware of the fourth one, the real awareness. I don't know how to do that. So I have all these problems. Wolves are there, I'm like bird, I am animal, all these things I'm saying. So accept me and then give me victory in knowing the fourth one.
Yes. Okay. Beautiful. Close. But you have to connect now what is cow.
Yeah.
Okay. So that you're in the zip code. You're kind of trying to, okay, this is being said something different from all of this stuff. But now the transliteration of the Vakyartha, you can't ignore the words. They're Da Vinci codes. They're pin codes. That's what is called encryption. This is what we're doing. Vakyartham is pointers, but it is not, in the pointers itself lies. This is the beauty of mantras. This is the beauty of the mantra. This is such an amazing, even for a pure intellect, forget about anything about realization. Even for a pure intellect, this is absolutely stimulating. That's why it is prachodayat. It propels your intellect. It illumines your intellect. And we all turn into scientists, not looking at the stars outside, but the galaxies inside. Yes. Anyone else? Okay, Gayatri. Gayatri is iPhone, please.
Yeah. So I'm thinking that maybe the cow means the jiva or the individual soul, which is identifying with body, mind, and so in the cycle of birth and death. So take me back and enlighten me take me from that ignorance to enlightenment.
Beautiful, Maha, beautiful. She connected to the Da Vinci Code of the cow. Perfectly, on spot,
Right.
on spot. On spot. Now come into light, please. I hardly saw you and now you went into black box.
Sairam?
Sairam, yes. Okay. No,
as
that's
in-
okay. I was just, yeah, you
Okay.
are, you can go back to black box. That's okay. Ga means the jiva, the individual. Individual. She's very close. She's almost to the point. Almost to the point, but there is even more profound. Okay, now we try to understand this Da Vinci Code, the Vakyardha. The Ga also refers to the individual soul. The individual soul is now saying duhitar divah, to the one that is associated with the higher planes. Diva means actually sky. Duhitar divah means the one which is following, which is in the sky, or the daughter of the. So the reference is duhitar divah. Diva also is what we call as the three planes, right? Divi esham, right? When we say the prayer in Rudram, Namo Rudrebhyo, e Prithivya e Antarikshe Vataha, e Divi Varsham. Divi means higher planes. So this individual has gone through all this journey. First noticing this Ratri, you see the 7 mantras, how they came. What's the mantra before that? The mantra before that is about what? Let this tamas, which is dark and is going to hide everything, let that not cover me. Ignorance. Tamaha is ignorance. And yesterday I described what is ignorance. What is ignorance? Ignorance, the Sanskritam word for ignorance is samsara. How many, what is the cycle of samsara yesterday I mentioned? What's the cycle?
Brings out desires.
Yes, ignorance gives.
Desires.
Desires give.
Actions.
Actions give.
Suffering or pain
Action.
or
Results.
Results.
Results give.
Birth and death cycle.
Experiences.
No, impression.
Experiences.
Experiences give.
Impressions.
Impressions give.
The cycle of
The cycle of birth and death. Now, what did this individual do in the previous mantra? Put all the baggage aside. I have no connection with this baggage, this samsara. Then who is left? Hello, Sairam. Are you with me? Are you see the beauty of this? Are you seeing the beauty of this? Who is left now?
Paramatma.
No. Who is left now? Not
Jiva.
Yeah,
the witness.
Yes. No, not the witness. You, who is left? Only just you. The I is left. The I is the only, the jiva, the individual, the I, that single I is left. Everything else is foregone. All the samsara cycle is gone. In the previous mantra, you are left and you are this individual jivatma, or what we call as individual soul. And this individual soul, this is beautiful mantra. You see, what we are studying here is 100% not explained in any books. I will guarantee you that. Because this level of looking at this with such clarity Why it is so important? Because now you truly understand what you are going to study next. You are prepared. Your mind, your intellect, your system is now prepared to even come close to this thing called mahãmãya, which is impossible for any human intelligentsia to even come close to. Therefore, what is saying here? What am I noticing? What is this thing called Ratri now? The supreme witness consciousness we called. And we also said that which pervades the body, the senses, and the inner faculties, such as the mind, the doer, the intellect, and the conscience. And now we went through this thing called the slumber, and this slumber is nothing but ignorance. And this ignorance gives this baggage, and this baggage has to be lived through for many cycles of births and deaths. And it is absolutely such a burden on you. It's a debt that you are creating yourself. And you are saying, I'm relinquishing all that debt, dispel all my debt. Now, I am now almost free from baggage, but I am left. The I is left. The feeling of I is left. And what is this I now actually witnessing? This I is your own awareness. Please know now the I here is not the ego I. Please stay with this, please. What is left now is this complete awareness. Awareness of what? Awareness of this. Awareness of this which is all pervading. Purutra, nivato, udvataha. This all pervading thing is just around you, your awareness. What is that all pervading thing that is around you, Sairam? Really speaking, not don't give spiritual answers. What is it that you are completely present to now and forever, all the time?
Conscious.
Awareness.
No. Space. Yeah, who said space? Yeah, space. Umaji, you said space. Yeah. Okay. Yes. You're always in space. Hello, Sairam. You know, there is nothing that doesn't exist outside of space, no? So you have to ask the question, is what he's saying factual? Is it real for me? Ask that question. And if anybody feels, no, sir, I am in something else, I want to know. Is there anything that is present in this universe that is outside of space? Anything whatsoever? Anything? Not just your body, not just this earth, not this planetary system, not this galaxy, thousands of galaxies. Everything is present in space. Everything. Everything is present in space. So what is it that is always existing? Space. Can you tell what space is? We went through this exercise before. No, don't answer, Ma, please. Only when I ask a question, you answer. Now we are going to do this meditation right now. We're going through this profound meditation. Everything is space. There is nothing that does not exist outside of this space. In fact, you are in the space with a boundary drawn around it, circle called body. If you remove that skin out, what is left out of you is simply space. There is nothing more than space. You step outside your body, you are in space. You step inside, that is space inside you. In fact, what you say is you put boundaries around something and you call it space. You call that space a name and give it a form. You construct a house in space. But if you demolish the walls, it is simply space. You live in space. Actually, space lives in you, and you drew a boundary around the space and calling it different names and forms. But if I actually ask anyone, do you see space? Yes, I see space. Are you in space? Yes, I am in space. Is there space inside you? Yes. So if you know it so closely, can you please tell me what it is? How do you actually physically define space? Oh, but you know it, you are aware of it, you are in it, it is in you. But yet when I ask you what it is, you're clueless. And this space, I can call it emptiness. That's probably the closest to defining what it is. It's called emptiness. It's emptiness. There is nothing in it, but you put something in this emptiness and live happily ever after. This is the essence of Buddhism. Buddhism is all about emptiness. But Veda takes one step above and beyond that. Yes, if you understood what emptiness is, which is impractical, you got to understanding what the witness consciousness is only 50%. Oh my God, if I understood what emptiness is, I only got 50 marks. Are you kidding me? What happened to the other 50 marks? What is that other 50 marks? Hello, Sairam, that which exists and you know it exists, you cannot explain it. You know it is there. And that the technical term for that in Vedanta is Sat. Now you understood? To get to the word, simply don't sing Satchidananda, Satchidananda. I am Satchitananda. What is that? What is that Satchitananda? What is that Sat? This Sat is that complete existence, pure existence. Shuddham, it is called. Another technical Sanskritam term for it is Shuddham. Complete emptiness, that is all. This is why yesterday I was saying, there are certain things you should meditate upon, to which you are actually present, not to some empirical God in heaven, and that you will go to this heaven and then you will meet this God in heaven. All that may be true, may not true, but those are all mystic experiences which are very, very tough. And it requires complete killing of every thought at its root and become completely attributeless, what is called nirguna. And then only you can even come close to it. For a person like me who lives in the world, it's impractical, impossible, I would even say, because I can't be in this world and yet be operating. So what happens to 99% of the living beings as humans? How do they perceive this thing called supreme witness consciousness? It is through these examples that Vedas have very graciously gave as blessing to the entire humanity. And what are those examples? Yesterday, we talked about this example of ocean. And today, we're talking about the example of sky or space. When you actually get into that, Now, where are we in the Ratri Suktam about this? Amma Sahiti Papam. Are you understanding space, what I'm talking? Yes?
Yes.
Yeah. Are you connected to the space concept we're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you are in this space and you are aware of this space. You know that space exists, that everything is in space. The entire nebula, the galaxies, the stars, the more than anything that you can even perceive, and those that exist trillions of miles away, literally. This nebula we talk about is close to 50,000 trillion miles away from this earth where we are. And that exists in space, and you exist in space. See how magnanimous this space is. And then we are saying it is impossible, impractical for you to become aware of that space. And the closest you can get to in the concept of the space is becoming completely empty. Because that is the property of the space. That is the property of the space. Emptiness. So when you become completely empty, what did you do? You said, oh my God, all this stuff that is approaching me, this thing called ignorance, the samsara, what I call as baggage, if I carry all of that, I'm not empty. So I have to empty everything. And you completely empty everything. Upama pe pishattamah krishnam vyaktamasthita usha runeva yataya. I'm awakened now. I'm aware. I give up this baggage. I am completely empty. And now here I am. Oh, emptiness. I am looking at you. I am in you. I brought myself to you. What did I bring myself to you? My awareness. Not the I as in the ego, the mind, the body, the senses, and all of that stuff. No baggage, no samsara. I'm completely empty. I am now here with you. Oh, space that exists in all planes, including the highest of all the planes. Here I am, my awareness, and I want to make a deal with you. I want to make a deal with you. You are all emptiness, and my awareness is completeness. Therefore, let you and I become one with each other. And then you are all pervading. I am awareness. And the name for this awareness is Chit. And the name for that emptiness is Sat. Therefore, my prayer to you is you and I become one. Sat and Chit become one. And now I become that infinity of awareness. And I am Ananda.
Sairam, I want to make a question, please.
Let's right now, before you ask that question, be present to this infinite emptiness and suffuse this infinite existence as space with your awareness, the Ga. I brought to you my awareness. Upate Ga. Upate Ga. I brought this awareness to you. Please accept my awareness. vRNīshva. You are in the highest planes. My awareness right now is only limited to my plane. My awareness is just limited to my body, my senses, and the place where I live in. It's limited. My awareness is limited. But you are unlimited. Because you are existing in all planes. And hence, therefore, Ratri, stomam, I want to come and live in you. I want to merge with you. Stomam also means merger. I want to merge with you. Ratri, which is this infinite Sat, existence, that is all-pervading. You are all-pervading, but my awareness is now just limited. What does the sky doesn't have? The space doesn't have. Space does not have awareness. That is what is missing in space. Hello, Sairam, if space has awareness and it moves, imagine if space has awareness and it moves, just like an ocean moving. Do you know what happens? All the planetary system, the galaxies, everything will collide with each other and it's completely gone. Therefore, emptiness is, it doesn't move. It has no Shakti. It is simply Sat. Therefore, it is 50%. Whereas the awareness is the other 50%. So, Ratri, stomam, I want to merge with you so that we both together become unconquerable jigyuṣe. Only one exists. Ratri stomanna jigyuṣe. In this beautiful Ratri Suktam is embedded the essence of everything associated with the supreme witness consciousness that exists through all the three states of being that pervades the body, the senses, and the mind, and taking us from this finite awareness. And when that body, mind, senses go into this dissolved state, there is no existence, it is slumber in a relative level. Now, when you become aware, or when the dawn happens, the awakening happens, in this awakening now, all this baggage associated with samsara is completely relinquished. When all that baggage is relinquished, what simply remains is this I am awareness. And that I am awareness, now which wants to become all-pervading, now goes and merges with existence. And when existence and awareness come together, it becomes infinite. And the word for that infinity is Ananda. Ananda is not simply happiness or bliss. Ananda also means infinity. And that infinite awareness is what is called Brahman. Therefore, Satyam, existence, Jnanam, awareness, Anantam, infinity. Then you become Brahman. Satyam Jnanamanantam Brahma. Satyam Jnanamanantam Brahma. Satyam Jnanamanantam Brahma. Satyam Brahma. Jnanam Brahma. Anantam Brahma. Anantam Brahma. Satyam Jnanamanantam Brahma. Existence, awareness, infinity, boundless, that is Brahman. That was the most earliest definition of who God is in the Vedas. And that is the definition that will exist to eternity, independent of whatever Messiah comes, whatever religion comes. What God is, when somebody asks you, What is the definition of, when I was doing a satsang in Illinois, sometimes somebody asked, what is the definition of God given in Vedas? That was the question that I was asked. And I had to immediately say, Project Houston, where are you? You need to come in. I have no clue what it means. How is God defined? And in that satsang, this revelation occurred to me that the definition of God, Brahman, is Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. And what we went through in this Ratri Suktam is completely bringing all of that together into Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. Everything that is said about Satyam, how all pervading, all existing it is. Ratri Vyakhyadayati Purutra Devya Akshabhihi Vishwa Adhishriyogodhita Orvapra Amartya Nivatogo Devyu Udvataha Jyotisha Badhate Tamaha Nirusvasa Aramaskruto Shasan Devyayati Apeduhasate Tamaha Sano Adyayasya Avayannite Yamanna Vikshmahi Vrukshena vasatim vayaha nigrama aso avikshata nipadvanto nipakshinaha nisyena saschidardhinaha yavayaga vrukya avrukam yavayaste namurmye atha nasutaraga bhava upama pishattamah krishnam vyaktamastita usharune vayataya upatega ākaram vRNīshva duhitar divah Rātri Sūktam jigyuṣe. So, brothers and sisters, now we know why we chant Kavacham, why we chant Argala, why we chant Kilakam, why we chant Ratri Suktam, and do the Ekada Sannyasa before Ratri Suktam, and then only we do chant the Devi Saptashati. This prakriya, what is called as prakriya, means that action which is absolutely expansive consciousness. Kriya means action. Prakriya means that action which is boundless and connects you to this entire universal consciousness. It is not simply some ritual that you do. This is completely pure existence, awareness, and infinite supreme consciousness. Nothing to do with this thing called Hinduism. Every mantra that I have explained as a rook, go back, listen carefully. Did Shekhar say anything about Hinduism? Listen carefully. That's why I keep on asking you the question. Is it real for you? Is it real for you? Is it real for you as a Christian? Is it real for you as a Jew, as a Muslim, as whatever denomination you want to belong to? Vaishnavite, Shaivite, Shaktite, whatever. I don't care. Everything that is being said is real for the mind and its awareness. So we are not teaching Hinduism through these mantras. That doesn't mean that those that teach Hinduism through these mantras are wrong or doing anything wrong. It's no. There, as I always explain to you all, 100%, we do not exclude anything or eliminate anything. Because if we eliminate something, then we are not complete. If you say Jesus is only God, that means the rest are not gods. That means your Jesus is limited. If Allah is only, then your Allah is limited. If you say Vishnu is only God, your Vishnu is limited. But our God doesn't belong to any religion, nor did he come to establish any religion. He came to establish this path of love, the supreme wisdom of love, and this absolute essence of Sanatana Dharma. And the mission here is to take these eternal texts that have been existing timelessly, and now connecting those to ourselves as human beings. So my humble prayer to myself and to all of us on this satsang is, this is true sadhana. This is true sadhana. And when we connect to this sadhana, siddhi, there are three things I was telling yesterday in another satsang. There is swarupam, there is sadhana, there is siddhi. Swarupam means what you understand through this literal meaning is you get a feel for what is being said. Yes, you get a feel for what is being said. The sadhana is that what you are feeling for is simply ephemeral. It is not eternal. What is the inner connection to that? How do I make it real for me? Is the next one called siddhi. And that is what we experienced through Kavacham. In a very short summary of what Kavacham is all about that gross aspects related to your own body and that relationship of that body with what is present inside and what is present outside. That is Kavacham. Again, if anybody doesn't understand what is being said, please raise your hand. I don't understand what you're saying. Then let's have a discussion about the clarity after that, after this class. So that is number one, Kavacham, the gross aspects associated with what you perceive as yourself, from the thought to the skin, and then relationship of your thought to skin with everything else around it. That too also gross, and to some extent subtle, the senses. Then there is this argala, and this argala is going one step beyond how you perceive everything around you as names and forms and functions. Three things. The whole world is defined as name, form, function. Name, form, function. Nama, Rupa, Kriya. Name, form, function. Everything. You cannot identify something in this world without one or a combination of these three. Hello? Huh? Therefore, you said in Argala, Rupam Dehi. Rupam is the form, is the indweller. Jayam, function, is the indweller. Then Yasha, which is the idea or the thought, is also Dehi, which is the name. Name, form, function. That is what Argala is telling you. You're going beyond name, form, and function. And you're saying everything associated with this name, form, function is the Dehi, the indweller, not the Deha. Everything about the Deha is covered in Kavacham. Now you're coming to this beyond name, form, and function, which is the world. The world is name, form, function. And the moment you identify something with name, form, and function, you know that you connected to that which doesn't live forever. This is another principle. It never becomes eternal because it is vastu, it is identified object. Any object that you have identified with name, form, and function is not eternal. It will have to perish in time and space and lose its identity, including the bodies of the so-called avatars or the divine. because you identified them with a name and a form and a function. Then what remains? Dehi remains. Dehi. So from gross body and its identified objects as gross, we have come to this thing called Dehi, which is above name, form, and function. That is Argala. Now you unlocked. Argala, unlocked. And when you unlocked, it is still clueless. This Dehi is the I. You identified this I as inside you, the I. But that I is encrypted, compressed. I went through this. Kelakam. That I is now encrypted, compressed. You have no clue what it is. So see, this is dhyana. This is what is called a nididhyasa. This is now what you heard. Is now getting, is now ruminated, so that it is churned. It is actually masqueraded. It is all these things that you're doing with this substance now, this knowledge. It is because the first time you heard, you have no clue. It's like gulping something and you have no clue what you have eaten. It is not even digested. Now you're digesting it. You're digesting it. And once you digest it, it becomes absorbed into your blood. And that food becomes you. Ahamanna mahamanna mahaman mannado. So what you heard through Ratri Suktam or Kavacham or Argala or Kelakam is all just matter. And if you only eat food and keep it in your stomach, it becomes a burden. Hello? You can't just eat food and keep it in your stomach. It becomes a burden. If you simply learn Bhagavad Gita, Lalita Sahasranamam, this and that, and you don't assimilate it, it becomes a burden. It's a mental burden. It's a mental burden. Sairam, understand this. Therefore, they call ignorance is bliss. You might rather not consume that food rather than trying to attempt to consume that food. But once you consume that food, you in your digestive system, it goes to all these percolations and this, inside your intestine, these muscles are chewing it, and all the juices are flowing and they're breaking it apart. The proteins are becoming amino acids. All the fat is becoming fatty acids. All the sugar is getting broken down. And all of that which is broken down is now absorbed in your intestine. And what is now absorbed in the intestines into the blood flows through the entire system from the tip to the toe. And then you become what you eat. You become what you eat. That is about the physical food that you're eating. What about all this mental food that you're eating? So now you became Dehi, the encrypted, compressed I. And that encrypted, compressed I, now you see how we are looking at this from so many different angles, so that it doesn't escape. It doesn't escape our awareness. It gets completely entrenched. Your awareness get entrenched in it. So what is the first thing called the gross? It is your awakened state, where your body, your mind, your senses, everything is functional. Then what is this thing called Argala, the lock, which is the dream state? Only the names and the forms and the functions project. It's a projection. It's like a dream. You're projecting the dream. Then you got this thing called I, the ahankara, the inner self I, and that now is encrypted. And therefore it goes into slumber. That's called the deep sleep state, where the I is in the seed form. It's not associated with the body, the senses. And it is completely dissolved, or the inner faculties, but it is encrypted. And that encrypted I is now awakened, and it is realizing, oh my God, I became encrypted, but I see this incredible thing called this vast space, which is called Rātri, in which everything is existing, and it goes and begs this thing. You know what? I am this awareness. I don't have any baggage associated with the relative world or the projected world. I am simply now this I, and this I is called Ga. I have relinquished everything. Let you and I become one, and therefore we become infinite existence, consciousness, and bliss. This is probably one of the most profound thing that we are looking at, brothers and sisters. And I'm immensely grateful to Bhagavan in you, because the speaker is the student. Only when you can actually assimilate and understand and try to be that, you can even have the eligibility to speak about it. And you gave that incredible opportunity. Actually, Bhagavan gave that infinite opportunity because of 22 years of tapas associated with Sri Rudram. And then what happens is, we are now at this place, and the prakriya, which we will cover next class, before we do the chanting on, see, all of this come to culmination, all the purvanga comes to culmination right before we do the chanting on Saturday, the August 6th, which is the day after Varalakshmi Vratam, when Mahalakshmi is invoked all over the world. And the day after that, we're going to do complete Parayanam. And now you will see the profoundness of why we do Purvanga before you even start opening your mouth and chanting any shlokas of Devi Matyam, because you have now gained that eligibility to be able to now see this infinite divine cosmic form of this mother or father or that, whatever, call her father, call her mother, it doesn't really matter. And so next, today is Sunday, no? Yeah, today is Sunday. Okay. Next class, I will give the overview of the different nyasas. Ekadasha nyasas are done. 11 different nyasas are done. So the prakriya is about invoking Ganapati. The prakriya, I keep using these Sanskrit words. I shouldn't be. I should talk common language. The protocol is about doing the Ganapati Pradhana, then doing all the sankalpam, the invocation and the intent, and then going into Ganapati Pradhana. And then we'll refresh Ganapati next week. We'll refresh the Ekadasa Nyasa. And all these Ekadasa Nyasas are very nicely laid out in that book most of you, I think, bought. If you haven't, it doesn't matter. There is a lot of information and literature available, but I will make sure that all these Ekadasa Nyasa you have seen last time when you joined the Devi Matyam, or before that also during the Cham, we did the Ekadasa Nyasa. And that Ekadasa Nyasa means installation, complete presence. Nyasa doesn't mean simply touching body parts and all of that stuff. Useless, time waste things that we do if we don't actually connect to it. It is useless in the context of the ultimate goal. It is useful in the context of relative goals. Okay. What is the relative goals? Give me green card. Let my son get a college admission. All these are samsara related goals. What do they do? Already we went through that. Those will be fulfilled. Huh? You see, this thing is very tricky. The God business is very tricky. It will give whatever you want. Now, what we are thinking, oh my God, this is fulfilled. Oh, Bhagavan has this grace. He gave me this ring. No, Daddy. Bhagavan giving a ring is a trap. It's his grace, but it's also a trap. Then you are connected to this Bhagavan as a ring only. Because you remember Bhagavan whenever you see your ring. That's why I was telling yesterday some people, 2 beautiful rings that Bhagavan gave this body. Ignore ring, inspire ring. 2 rings. Ignore ring, inspire ring. Then when you get those rings, you don't ignore, you ignore the physical presence, but you are connected to the cosmic presence. Therefore, that name and the form of that, even that God is not binding you, it's liberating you, and it liberates. because now you are in this supreme consciousness of SAI, same as I. Now this is the final piece with anything. What is your true nature? SAI, same as I, so am I. This is your true nature. So at absolute level, this moharãtri, what we are talking about, when the individual is merging in the supreme consciousness associated with this emptiness or the existence, and therefore then what happened? The I merged with another I. The first I is the individual I. What it is merged with? Infinite I, the sky. The I, the sky, the I, everything is very much codified. And therefore, when that happens, it becomes the same as I, SAI. What is this SAI? Satchit Ananda. S for Sat, A for awareness, I for infinity, SAI. I am I. Therefore, SAI is not a 5'3" afro-haired Indian dude. For heaven's sake, don't limit him to that. And how would you get to that? When he ignores you physically, then you will have this incredible resolve. Bhagavan has done this physically to people. Many evolved souls that served him forever in his mission unconditionally. Suddenly one day he'll tell, from tomorrow onwards, you're not coming into the ashram. Get out of here. What a blessing it is, you know that. Then they're forced to connect to the Bhagavan inside. Because they got so used and attached to that physical body, they become stifled by that physical body and its presence, because it's such a powerful presence of infinity in a physical body. And then take that as a blessing. And then when you go inside and then you connect to that infinite consciousness and bliss, then you achieve supreme Ananda. I am I. Okay, Sairam, we'll chant the Shama Prarthana. Oh, and then Elias, I haven't forgotten about your question. Huh? Hang tight. I mean, this stream of consciousness. So you forgive me for that.
Sairam, yesterday we were talking about the difference between will and desire. I wonder, is the desire behind the will?
Yeah, okay. Can we take that question? Can we take that question after the Shama Prarthana? Okay, stay tuned. You can stay for a few minutes. Can you stay for a few minutes? Okay. Shama Prarthana. And today we'll do Devi's Shama Prarthana for anything that is being said. Everything that is being said is actually incomplete. And the truth is full of error. Now you're all saying, oh my God, what are you saying? Because what is it to describe that which is beyond words and thought? And yet we try to put that for our own relative understanding into this limited module. And for that we seek forgiveness. That is the essence of forgiveness prayer. Forgive, Mother. I might have tried to describe you in my own limited awareness, and in doing so I am foolish. Therefore, thousands of mistakes that I do day and night. I am simply your servant, you know. Swami told once that I am his dog and a donkey. The dog that works day and night for the master, and the donkey that yells when something is not right or barks. So I am the simply your dog and donkey. So I do mistakes. And because I don't know how to invoke you, nor do I know any of these rituals to the extent that I should become completely aware of them and doing, nor do I know how to worship or adore you. So therefore, O Supreme Mother, just please forgive me for all this. I don't know what mantra actually means, nor do I know how to bring forth that mantra into action with complete devotion. Therefore, the Supreme Goddess and the Goddess of all gods and goddesses, whatever prayers that are offered, please be content with them because I am your child. I don't know how to say your name properly even. I might have committed hundreds of defenses through ignorance of this body, mind, and the senses. And in doing so, I might not have properly seen you completely in everything associated with the name, form, and the function. Therefore, Mother, although I am such an offender, I am simply seeking gain and shelter in your supreme presence, O Mother of the universe. I am worthy of your kind looks. You are the mother of all will and existence, thought, joy, pleasure, and therefore you shall be merciful to me. You keep all the secrets of this entire universe within, and those secrets I am trying to connect through these chants. With your mercy only, I shall be able to decodify all these secrets and be able to visualize your true divine supreme form. That is the essence of the Kshama Prarthana. What I just said. Om aparadha sahasrani kriyante harnisham maya dasoyamiti mam matva kshamasva parameshwari avahanan na janami visajjanam पूजाञ्चैव न जानामि क्षम्यतां परमेश्वरी मन्त्रहीनं क्रियाहीनं भक्तिहीनं सुरेश्वरी यत्पूजितं मया देवि परिपूर्णं तदस्तु मे अपराधशतं कृत्वा जगदम्बेति चोच्चरेत् यां गतिं समवाप्नोति न तां ब्रह्मादयः सुराः सापराधोऽस्मि शरणं प्राप्तस्त्वां जगदम्बिके इदानीमनुकम्प्योऽहं यथेच्छसि तथा कुरु अज्ञानाद्विस्मृतेर्भ्रान्त्या यन्यूनमधिकं कृतं तत्सर्वं क्षम्यतां देवि प्रसीद परमेश्वरी कामेश्वरि जगन्मातः सच्चिदानन्द विग्रहे गृहाणार्चामि मां प्रीत्या प्रसीद परमेश्वरी गुह्यातिगुह्य गोप्त्री त्वं गृहाणास्मत्कृतं जपं सिद्धिर्भवतु मे देवि त्वत्प्रसादात् सुरेश्वरी ओम हरिः ओम तत्सत् श्री जगदम्बार्पणमस्तु. Yes, the question brother asked, we'll do a few minutes of contemplation and any questions and answers. So discussion. If you don't have any questions, that's fine. But questions will come. They have to come. And they will only come in your awareness. So the question is, what is the difference between a will and a desire? And how do you distinguish between the will and the desire? That's the question. Yes, brother, did I capture your question? And you more importantly is asking, is will desire? Yes, is will desire? Is that the question?
The question is the desire behind the will?
Yeah, that's so. Is the desire behind the will? In the will, is there a desire? So therefore, we have to understand what is a desire, what is will. Fundamental definitions. Yeah. Okay. Fundamental definition. Desire is very simply the movement of thought. That is what is desire. Definition of desire: movement of thought, movement that exists. And that movement, when it happens in the context of the movement of your ego, the doer, which you identified as this I that is finite present within your body, mind, senses complex. That is desire. So, no, hold on. Just allow me, please, one more minute. The will is, yesterday we used the analogy of the ocean. Will is consciousness movement. The natural movement of consciousness is will. The movement of the mind, body, senses, complex is desire. Listen to this very, very carefully. This is a very important question. It is actually in scale, they are different. We are using different terminology, but connect to what is being said. Because the senses and the mind are also self-illuminous, because the moon is luminous. No, the moon is luminous. The moon is also having his own luminance, similar, not his own luminance, derived luminance from the supreme consciousness, which is the sun. So is the mind. The mind is illumined by the supreme consciousness, but when it is moved by the propelling of the senses or the instinct, it is desire. It's not its natural movement. It is being propelled by senses and desires, and senses and past results, or what we call as technical term as vasanas, impressions. Then it is a desire. The natural movement of the ocean, it is the will, because there is nothing that is moving it. Will is nothing is moving it. It is a self. It is automatically associated with it, like the ocean which moves. That is the way I understand it. Now, please, what is the clarification you're looking for? Further question? Yes, I'm sure that brings more questions. Yes, Elias.
I asked the question because I wonder at the same time if our physical sense has something to do with the spiritual or the psychological faculties that we have in our self.
What are you defining as self?
In my being or in our being.
Okay. So the question is, I'm still trying to understand the question, sir. Please forgive me. Maybe you should ask in Spanish, and we'll ask Sonia or somebody to translate it.
No, my question is if our physical sense has something to do with our spiritual or psychological.
Oh yes. Okay. Please know that whatever we are calling physical senses, body, mind, and everything associated is nothing but the expression of the divine consciousness only, nothing more than that. So therefore, everything is included in this thing called divine consciousness. It is not that this is separate, that is separate, and etc. etc. So these are incredible instruments that are given to actually experience that which is propelling it. So therefore, we should not for a second think that body is useless. Body is useless. No, body is an important instrument. You have to protect it to practice the dharma and the practice what we called as to live these human values, which are the ways to get close to the divine consciousness. So we should not say that the senses are bad but what is not, again, what is very clear is identification of the mind with those things. That is what we have to be careful about. Just like when you cross the river, you need a boat. You need a boat, and the boat is very important. It is present on water. It has to take you across the river. But you don't carry the boat on your back after you reach the other side. You simply leave it in the water. But until you have to cross the river, you need the boat. Similarly, but you don't identify yourself with the boat. You don't say, oh, boat, come on, you and I are one. Let me carry you into the town on my back. You don't do that. But when you are in the water, oh man, it's the most important thing. Or unless you have a body that can actually swim so beautifully across the entire river. Yes. So it has to be very carefully distinguished that nobody is saying body consciousness is body. Everything shines in this consciousness, and everything is this consciousness. And in fact, without that bulb, you cannot even see the light. Without the object, you cannot actually see the light. The object is so much required to see the light. Because of this hand, I'm able to actually see the shining of the light. I went through this exercise. I don't know if you were present. I went through 5 things about light. Light is present, whether this hand is present or not. This hand is shining because of the light. The light is all pervading in and around this hand. But this light is nothing to do with this hand. The hand is needed to see the light. So you can substitute body, senses, mind, everything in that analogy. Substitute hand with all those things. Okay, is that close to what you're looking for? I don't know if I made any. I'm carefully using the word if I made sense.
Thank you very much. I have another question. Is at the end of the Ratri Suktam, we can see that it was translated by Ralph T.A. Griffith in 1896. We are talking about 126 years. That's right?
Yeah, there are so many people that put a Sanskrit dictionary in front of them and translate it. And that translation is one of those. There are several people that translate. This translation is about word-to-word translation. It's what we call as the literal translation. And that literal translation is useful, but also can be dangerous. if you actually don't connect to the inner context of it, which only comes through sadhana, it comes through this incredible 100% of attention, shraddha. You require that undivided attention in looking at it. Then you will act, it will begin to actually reveal it to you rather than you trying to unravel it. Like what we went through the meaning, right? What does it mean, cow? I mean, the translation that you're referring to, the gentleman I showed on the screen, I bring to you the cows and a prayer, etc. Please accept it, whatever. It doesn't make any sense. And so does several Veda mantras. They don't make sense literally. But the literal meaning is a pointer. You should not ignore it because it's in that literal meaning. They're the common reference points, right? And then the inner meanings are revelations. They're Da Vinci codes, pin codes, passwords. Yes. Any other questions from anyone else?
Yes, I do have one.
Yes.
I was thinking what you was telling to the answer to Elias, and the desires it's from the mind and the will it's from the conscious. But in order to our body, the desires could affect the will, right? For example, and our body, every self have intelligence, have that they know what they have to do, right? For example, the stomach have this functions, and all these cells that are in the stomach are programmed to do this job. This is their will, right? Or this is something else.
It's not their will. Your heart is not beating because of its will. Okay. So you have to, if that is the case, it will be a dangerous phenomenon, because when it thinks I have to stop, it will stop. So now this is a beautiful pedagogy, or what we call as technical term for it is how to teach with the pedagogy, a siddhanta. For that, you need to actually take several metaphors. And I have gone through this metaphor before. It's called druk, drushya, vivekam, the seer and the seen. Okay, the seer and the seen. The eyes are the ones that are seeing. Yeah, now physically, relatively, the eyes are seeing. What is seeing is one. What are being seen are many. There are many that are being seen by this one thing called eye. This eye is different from what it is seeing, meaning this cup is not this eye is not this cup. They're two different things. Now, what is seeing is not moving that much, but what is being seen, all moving. They're changing. What is seeing cannot be seen.
Okay, but what happened when your thought affect your health?
Your thought affect your health? Yeah. Okay. So what do you mean what happened? You become sick?
Because my thought that
it's not describing your will. Okay. You're saying if my thought is changing the will, is that what you're saying?
No. When this is a relation between the thought and your health. There's something that I heard a lot, that all the sickness begin in your mind and then become to your body.
Oh, actually, the sickness started with what you ate.
Okay.
It's not what you think. What you ate became what you thought.
But because what you eat conditions your thought.
Yeah,
Okay.
of course.
Okay. Okay.
So be careful with what you eat.
Okay. I am.
Okay, no, not you meaning mean. We have to be careful with what you eat. See, the Western philosophy, or what we call as the Carter reduction theory associated with philosophy, is that always said body is separate from mind, they're not related, and consciousness is nothing but mind, etc. All of that is completely being revisited. There are studies on now what consciousness is. There's profound introspection into what all this means. Now there is 100% recognition that you become what you eat. What you eat actually shapes what your thoughts are. And what is it that you are eating? And when you eat, see, this is how profound Sanatana Dharma is. It fundamentally comes to the matter that is now becoming the mind, or the mind turning into the matter and the mind. They are so intricately linked, because mind itself is matter. That's a different matter. Okay. So what we are actually trying to really get into is this incredible Vedic prescription that what is the source of the food. Now go do this introspection. Okay, you started with thought. Okay, my thought is coming from because of what I ate. Okay, what is it that I'm eating? How is it produced? What is behind that? What is behind that? What is behind that? Keep doing this introspection, inquiry. See where you end up. Homework. Homework. If what I'm thinking is designed by what I'm eating, what is it that I'm eating? How is that produced? How is that? How is that? How is that? So what is the fundamental source of everything related to thought? Okay. Any other questions? Oh, who is this person asking? Okay. Oh, Swati, your question is answered, right? Who is I here? The Ratri or Kaushik Rishi. Okay, that's good. Pure cow milk without expecting anything for that is a comment. Okay. Cow follower, it just follows the master. Okay. Okay. Any questions or comments that you get posted that did not become space is nothingness? Oh, space is okay. Is space nothingness? Is space is what is space thing? How do you define space? How do you define nothing? So the question we were contemplating on is this thing called space that exists, and that it is all around you and in you, above you, below you, everywhere. Describe what that space is, and you cannot physically describe what space is. It's impossible, impractical. You can describe what time is. You can physically, as a physicist, physicists have defined what time is. And I know if there is a physicist here, I'm sure you know the answer to that. What is time? What is time? Time is simply entropy, loss of energy is time. That is physical definition of time. And there is also spiritual definition of time. I think we went through this when we did the Rudrajnana Yajna. And there is this thing around the Anuvakam number 6. Yes, Anuvakam number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, Namo Jyeshtaya cha Kanishtaya cha. In that, we discussed extensively about what time is. And if you actually now take Rudram, everything that we're talking is already described in Rudram to such a detail that, say, amazing. Any of these mantras actually give you the insight into 3 things. Knowing this, the structure of it, the overall structure of it. What do you need to get into this? And then how do you realize it? It's called, now in this beautiful four things that we did, the kavacham and the argalam and all these things are inside them are described all this thing called the supreme statements in the Vedas, the four supreme statements in Vedas, the four supreme statements in Vedas. What are the four supreme statements? Harish will immediately tell what.
Aham Brahmasmi.
Okay, one.
Tattvamasi.
Tattvamasi, yes. Hey, only 50%. You don't get
Brahman Satya Jagat Mithya.
And now people are making their own supreme statements. Okay. What's the third one? Umaji, you are excluded. Umaji is excluded. Okay. Who else? Third. I only heard two. Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi.
Sarvam Brahma.
Sarvam Khalidam Brahma.
Prajnanam Brahma.
Prajnanam Brahma. Who is saying that? Oh, Girja. Okay. Murtigar. Okay. Prajnanam Brahma. What's the fourth one?
I am Atma Brahma.
I am Atma Brahma. Yes. That is coming from. Black box lo unnaventi vada Arunachalam photo pettukoni. Okay. So those are the four. This is very beautiful. When Bhagavan wills, we will have a satsang around what these four actually mean. Right now, let's just focus on Devi Mahatyam. But all the four are described in this. All the four are 100% covered by Rudram, 100% covered by Devi Mahatyam. Your mind should be looking into those things. And how and what is Prajnanam? So Prajnanam Brahma, somebody said. Prajnanam. What is Prajnanam? We are mostly in Ajnanam. Then there is Jnanam. Then there is Vijnanam. There is Sujnanam. There is Prajnanam. What all these different Jnanas? Bhagavan has described all these things very simply. And it's like very simple. It is so simple. Bhagavan's teachings are so simple that 99% of the time he tricks you. You read it and say, I already know that. What is he talking about? That's why in study circle, we become circles, zeros. Because you read that, this makes sense. Completely makes sense. What is there to study about it? Yes. Okay. If there are no more questions, let's do Swasti Mantra. I had
one more question, but I know it's pretty late. So
no. Don't worry. Late for you or me. I'm timeless.
For everybody to.
Whoever feels it is late will drop off. We are not asking them to stay. So don't worry about others. And don't worry about me. You tell me what's the question so I can sleep.
I had written to you that it's very profound about the space not moving. But isn't it individually moving when we, like, suppose, for example, I am moving, doesn't the space within me moves also?
Oh, let's do this. Is it really? Okay, thank you for asking that question. Okay, there is this, whatever vessel, what do you call it? I don't know. Tumbler, okay. And there is water in this. And along with this water, there is space in this. Okay. When I move this, what is moving?
The tumbler and the space within it.
There's water. Water is moving.
Oh, okay, yes.
And the tumbler is moving. Ask the question. The space is moving? Seriously?
In space.
Huh?
Object is shifting in space.
Yeah, is the space moving or is this moving in space?
But what about if it was empty? The tumbler is empty, then there is space, right?
Yeah, is the space moving?
The outside space is not moving, but the inside space is moving. That is what...
Is it actually moving? I mean, look at this. from this point to this point, is there a change in space?
I
Is
think she's
The tumbler is moving.
Yeah, I mean, I think Swati is looking at from a tumbler standpoint. From tumbler standpoint, space, she is thinking the space is moving, but the space is remaining all over the place. It's not really moving.
What I meant,
The space in the tumbler is artificially defined by the periphery of this tumbler.
Yeah.
But if you actually look at this, this is not actually space in the, even though you perceive this as space in the tumbler, but this is simply artificially defined by the boundary of this tumbler, but the space has no dimension to it.
Yes.
That is the beauty of what is this analogy that we're talking about. And imagine exactly what I said in the class. Substitute this tumbler with your body. There is space in your body, and that is called, this is called, in technical terms, Sanskritam words. This is called, if you call this a ghatam, a tumbler, it's called ghatakasha. Then there is a hridakasha, there is chidakasha, there is mathakasha, brihadakasha. All this akasha means space. You are simply giving the names to the space associated with this boundary. But actually speaking, that is, in reality, in truth, the space has no definition to it. You look at your own home. You put 4 walls around one and you call it living room. You put 4 walls in another, called it bedroom. And you took space and you drew boundaries and you decided to call that space a name. But truly speaking, there is no name to that space. Because tomorrow when you sell the house, market is high, you change one of the living rooms into bedroom and call it 6 bedrooms. But when you bought it, there were only 3 bedrooms.
Right.
Hello. Yes?
Right. Got it.
Okay. We are clear now?
Yes.
So what is moving?
I mean, sorry.
Tumbler is
moving.
Tumbler is moving, but there is something else that is moving with it.
Water.
Water.
Yes.
And
Thanks for reminding.
a question according that she's asking. Is this water have a space in it? Capsule of not the water is moving in the space, but the water itself has space.
Molecules.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. 100%. Because the water molecules, in fact, even in an atom, there is a space. Even in an atom, there is space, and that space creates the nucleus, the protons, the electrons, all of that stuff. Everything is in space, from the most minutest of an atom to the most magnanimous in this sky. There is space. It is the same space. It is so evident, but at the same time, I can't describe what it is. Existence is space. That is Sat. Yes. When it, thank God, it doesn't become aware of itself. And if it became aware of itself and moves, nothing will exist. See how profound this Rātri Suktam, the last mantra that we discussed, the last rook. If you actually have connected to what is being said, you bring awareness to everything that you perceive, and your own awareness is what The true knowledge is that is Brahman, which is all-pervading awareness, and that all-pervading awareness that has completely merged into this thing called Akasha or space, that is what is called Prajnanam Brahma. Now I explained a Mahavakya with what we just described. Oh, you see, Prajnanam itself is not Brahma. The Jnanam itself is not Brahma. Awareness itself is not Brahma. Awareness of just yourself is not Brahma. The I, as you identify between your skin and your thought, is not the Brahma. Why? Because it's not infinite. So there are 5 properties associated. Oh my God, you guys are killing me now. I have to get into Brahman now. So Brahman, what is the 5 things? How do we know what that Brahman is? It is Shuddham, it is Buddham, it is Muktam, it is Sarvajnam, and it is Shaktimayam. That's now I'm using technical terms because that's how I can only express it, because I cannot express this in English words. It doesn't make any sense to me when I express in English words. So therefore, what is it's complete Shuddham, 100% pure Shuddham. So space is complete, it is 100% pure existence. And it is even Muktam, it is liberated, it is not associated with anything, it's infinite. But there's one thing that is absent in it, therefore you get 50% mark, it is not Buddham. Buddham Sharanam Gacchami. It's not Buddham. It's not suffused with awareness. And who brings that awareness to that thing which is Sat? You. And who are you? You are that awareness. You are that Chit. Therefore, you are the Brahman. Tattvamasi. Now, when you hear this and you're saying, oh, you means me, sir, me, Cecilia, sitting in Dominican Republic. That's not the you that is being referred to. that is being referred to is I am, I am, I am. And that I am is the common awareness that is present in this universe. That I am is universal. It's not limited to this body. Therefore, I am Atma. I am Brahma. That's the 4th one they did not say. I am Atma Brahma. It's actually in Sanskritam, it is I am Atma Brahma. But Swami told me in a dream, the English law, I am Atma Brahma. I am is Atma, I am is Brahma. Now, what is Atma? What is Brahma? What is different? Atma, as you perceive as this finite individual spark of divinity, is Atma. Brahma is that which is now ever expanding, infinite, supreme consciousness. Now we are covering Vedanta through Devi Matyam. You know? These things won't even. But we have to look at all the scriptures only through that perspective. Then only they become complete. Otherwise, they're all limited. They're limited by pursuit of pleasure. Prayers. I defined prayers in one class. The 4 P's. Prayers. Desire. That is what you desire. So now coming back to the whole question of desire. Desire is Sanskritam word for that is prayas. Prayas. Will is Shreyas. And Bhagavan has given this beautiful descriptions of these prayers and Shreyas in his discourses. If you go do search on Satya Sai Speaks, you will find elaborate discussion about that. What is this prayas? Prayas P is equal to P times P times P times P. What is the first P? The first P is pleasure. First P is pleasure. One which gives you temporary happiness and the reason to be happy. Pleasure is a reason for happiness. Oh my God, somebody has to put this in IT book language. Fundamental pleasure is reason for happiness. You eat an ice cream, you are happy. So what caused you happiness? Ice cream. Therefore, there is a reason why you became happy. You got promotion, you are happy. Oh, boss said you're doing great job, you are happy. Then there is a reason, there is a cause. Desire is associated with that fundamental pleasure. You understand? The sprayers now associated with a pleasure, associated with a pursuit. Pursuit. The pursuit is, I do this because I want to gain something. I want to achieve something. That is pursuit, driven by desire. And there is the third one, which is actually called purpose. Even that is prayers. Now you're saying, oh my God, then what do I do? Sit and do nothing. Huh? Sit and do nothing. That is the danger of getting into this Vedanta to such a incredible understanding. So therefore, the words associated with them in technically in Sanskritam is kama is pleasure, artha is pursuit, dharma is purpose. But there is one thing that is left. What's the fourth one?
Moksha.
Moksha. That is the only thing that is Shreyas, and that is will. Full circle. Full circle. We came from will to desire. Now go back and do this. Listen to this one more time and ask the question: is it real? Don't believe in what nobody can prescribe these things. Right? I'm not prescribing. Don't accept what I said. Don't accept it. Challenge it. Is this true? Is this meaningful? Is this real? Is this actually now you do the equation. Everything that we do in the world is propelled by the 3 P's: the pleasure, the pursuit, and the purpose. And to achieve some result. And that result will give you, like I say, seat in an executive suit in Maui or Kauai, so that you can enjoy your vacation. All these 3. Therefore, is that wrong? No. Please, I'm not making judgment about those, right? That is what it is. We're not saying whether it is right or wrong or whatever. Why do you do all these karmas? Why do you do all these things, the pursuits with a purpose, etc.? All of this will give these results. And those results will give you experience. Then when you leave this, when whatever you live, meaning the I leaves this body as the subtle, it will go take place in some higher world. It will enjoy vacation. It's called different types of lokas. It will be Bhuloka, Bhurloka, Suvarloka, Maharloka, Janoloka, Tapoloka, Satyaloka. And beyond that, there are also some lokas. You will go to all these lokas. And then all that bank balance that you accumulated to pursuit of all these things will get exhausted. And when that is done, hey, your time is up. Your time share is over. You are thrown back into your 1-bedroom apartment in New York. Then you come back. Yes. Now that doesn't mean, now you ask the question, so what does this mean, sir? Should I not do yoga? Should I not do service? Should I not live a dharmic life? Nobody is saying that. Please understand this very clearly. Nobody is saying that. There is a purpose and a need for all those things, depending upon your own awareness and at what stage you are. Unless you get to that point of complete nirguna, all of these things will be happening, and that is a different topic. Okay, we'll close with Swasti prayer. Rama, Swati, you are clear now? Four Mahavakyas. First one is Prajnanam Brahma. Then the next one is Ayamatma Brahma. Third one is Tattvamasi. Fourth one is Aham Brahmasmi. In that order. And in describing that order, there is a beautiful spiritual practice involved. And when Bhagavan wills, we will get into that. It's a beautiful spiritual practice involved with this. Because the fundamental problems are only two. One is, what is this world? Second is, who am I? Only two questions. Only two questions. What is this world? Who am I?
So there is a third question, sir. We fill the emptiness with awareness by Ratri Suktam. Then what is the need for another 700 slokas after this?
Yeah.
I had the same question.
You have actually now become one with that pure, infinite consciousness, and you have put a prayer. We said, I want to do a deal with you. You are infinite, unknowing. I am finite, awareness. I fill the blank for you, you fill the blank for me. Mute lo petkondamma, please. So, if we have become that, what is the purpose of doing all these 700? So we're done, no? That's the question you're asking. The same question comes even with mahānyāsam. You have done mahānyāsam, everything, you have become that. You have become the Rudra. Then what's the point in chanting Rudram after that? And then doing Ekas Rudra Abhishekam? Sir, question. Huh? How do you answer that question? Answer is this. It's no longer about you. You become the witness consciousness. And now all the thing, the drama is not stopping. It is still projecting. The Jagat is happening. But you watch all of that and you enjoy the play. You get into this artificial intelligence, virtual reality. You know that you are not that character, but you are enjoying everything. That is the divine cosmic form of the mother. That is now you become this witness consciousness to this universal drama. Don't stop enjoying it. It is still happening. That is why it is said you cannot worship a Rudra without becoming a Rudra. Na Rudro Rudramarchayet. Now, what is impossible to comprehend is this mahãmãya. And therefore, then what you have now become witness consciousness. And therefore, this aham brahmasmi comes into play with the 700 slokas. That is siddhi. This is sadhana and swarupam. Technical terms. What it means is the 700 slokas are siddhi. Siddhi, the phalashruti of becoming, what happens after becoming witness consciousness. Okay. I know that will raise a lot of questions. That questions, oh my God, your encyclopedia of all Swami's discourses. Ram posted something from about dharma is find the path from. Okay, yeah, address to address of our spirit. Yes, sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja. All of that is described in yeah. Once you do all the above, you will lose moham and you will get moksha, which is self-realization that you are not two but one, non-dualism and Advaita Jnana. Okay, thank you, Ram. The entity, it's from a Satyasai Speaks. Oh, it's an MP3. Oh, you can even listen to him. Wonderful. Super. Thank you. Swastif prajabhyah paripalayantam nyayena margena mahim mahishah go brahmanebhyah shubhamastu nityam samastalokaah sukhino bhavantu samastalokaah sukhino bhavantu samastalokaah sukhino bhavantu Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.